Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Will Lee Griffiths have to grow a few inches before he gets a chance to start for Gordon Strachan's Scotland side? Jackie McNamara has been sacked as manager of York City, but then moves into a role as the club's chief executive. Bizarre to say the least. We'll discuss that, as well as looking back over the weekend's results in all four divisions of Scottish football. We will look ahead to Celtic's Champions League match against Borussia Mönchengladbach, and touch on tonight's Red Derby between Liverpool and Manchester United, all in the company of Alan Ruff, and our Monday night bookroom guest is Mark Guidi. So it's a strange little story, Ruffy. It surfaced in the Herald this morning. Gordon Strachan, I think the main part of the piece is all about he prefers taller, more physical people to offer a threat from set pieces for Scotland if they go down to England and try and get something.
Yeah, I think Gordon's touched on that on numerous occasions. I think in the last game, he came out and in an interview and said, we're up against all these big guys. It's really hard playing against these big guys when you've got wee guys. Well, don't pick the wee guys, pick the big guys, if that's the problem we've got. But I think it's just the way the game has moved on now. We started off with the goalkeepers. The most important thing is the distribution of the ball and keeping possession, which you can buy into if you want. Now we want strikers, to be physical, but he's scoring goals. That's what we want. We want somebody to score goals. It's not necessarily everything in the air. His assets are on the ground where he pulls people about and he scores goals. So I don't know what he can do to improve that.
Yeah, sometimes the making of a manager is to actually assess what's gone wrong and then say, maybe I need to change. And right now he's making a rod for his own back with the lack of goals. Chris Martin, it hasn't worked. Stephen Fletcher, it hasn't worked. So change it to accommodate the guys who are scoring goals, or you could lose your job.
Yeah, I agree, Peter. And if you look through the rest of the Scotland team, all through Gordon Strachan's tenure, there's been a lot of smaller guys, Ikechi, Sean Maloney, Barry Bannon, James Forrest, all guys 5'6", 5'7", 5'8". So it doesn't really stack up if you want to do that. And the bottom line is, a centre forward, particularly in the predicament that we're in, if he is the best boy at putting the ball in the net, it doesn't matter if he's 5'2" or 6'2", give him a game. So I hope Gordon's not going down the road of now trying to justify by going in the lack inches in Lee Griffiths' height, because a lot can happen in the next 4 weeks before the game. However, please, don't go down that road of trying to justify somebody such as Chris Martin ahead of Lee Griffiths.
Would you be inclined to be asking that Jordan Rhodes and Ross McCormack be considered in this, or is it just about Lee Griffiths in his team selection for the England game?
Well, Jordan Rhodes is 6 pushing 6 tall. Ross McCormack's about 5'7", 5'8". Look, just pick the guys that are on form, Peter. Just pick a team to go and win the game. That's all that we ask. And that's all that we want.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, it's an interesting story. Another one that caught my eye over the last 24 hours, Jackie McNamara. Now, it was well documented that he was going to leave his job, Ruffy, but to take up a role as chief executive is bizarre in the least down there at York City.
Yeah, I think we all know he gets on well with the owner, and I think the owner was doing a dual-purpose job. It was taking his eye off his own company, which supplies the money for the club. So I think the owners went back to running his business and letting Jackie do the day-to-day running of the club, which looks on paper as it's quite a lot of things. So he'll have to obviously get into that, and probably not something that Jackie's ever done before. He's always been football, but I'm sure at this stage, I think with the disappointing results that they've had, you just want to stay in a job.
Yep, okay, there's some tasty football to look forward to over the course of the week. It's amazing that Celtic won't be concentrating on that League Cup semi-final because they'll be looking towards Borussia Mönchengladbach. We're going to discuss them very shortly. Let's look at the Premiership results over the weekend. Celtic's preparation for it was ideal. with a 2-0 win over Motherwell. Elsewhere it was Aberdeen defeating Ross County, with Ross County down to 10 men. Hearts and Robbie Neilson with his 100th game in charge, recording a 2-0 victory. Thistle still couldn't see it out against Hamilton Accies, and Kilmarnock got a really confidence-boosting away win at St Johnstone. As far as Celtic are concerned, this time it was all about keeping a clean sheet at the back, and they did so. And again, Moussa Dembele keeps scoring.
Yeah, he showed a great appetite, desire with 3 minutes to go, Peter, to chase that ball down. Won the penalty kick from Craig Sampson's challenge. So it would have been easier just to switch off and let the ball run. So listen, Celtic are in terrific form. Confidence is high. I don't think there's any doubt at all that Celtic will win the league. I'm going to say by touching 20 points. I think it could be wrapped up by February, Peter, the way things are going. And on Wednesday night, they'll fancy their chances of beating Borussia Mönchengladbach. You
seriously think Celtic will win the league by 20 points?
I think it could be that, Peter, yeah. I do. They have the financial muscle to go out and do things in January compared to other teams. They've banked 22-24 million quid and will do over the next few months. So if they want to go and do it, if they're still in Europe, get into Europa League in February, March, then I would expect them to strengthen, and they've got a big enough squad and enough quality in the squad and a top manager to go and actually just see off all before them with ease. So yeah, Celtic won the title by touching 20 points. Absolutely.
Ruffy, an interesting call from Mark. Certainly the most immediate thing in Brendan Rodgers' mind is the match against Borussia Mönchengladbach. I mentioned to you after the point against City that I thought 4 points might be enough to secure European football. What's your take on it?
Yeah, you would think that a German team won't pick up points against Man City and Barcelona. So yeah, it's an ideal opportunity. I don't think Celtic will get this easy by any manner of means. I've always been impressed with German teams' organisation. I know they're short. Well, they're saying they're short of 3 players. I think we'll wait and see who all turns up on the night. I just think this will be a harder game. I think the pressure will be on Celtic to win this one, whereas they weren't against Man City. They were just looking for a good performance and they got the result. So I think now they're going to come up against a team who might just sit in and they'll have to try and break them down, and that's another pressure that they've got to handle.
Okay, before we talk about Hearts and Aberdeen, just a quick one, a footnote on the Inverness Rangers game. Rangers get the win, the Joey Barton saga rumbles on. I get the feeling now Rangers are actually going to sit in till January until they sell them. That's the feeling I get from the way this whole thing's going to pan out, Mark. Rather sadly, there seems to be a reluctance on Rangers and the manager to speak to anybody as far as after games. I don't think that's a healthy situation. I think Mark Warburton speaks a lot of sense. Sometimes you're going to have to answer difficult questions and take criticism.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do your media duties. It's part of the game. There's also, you've got to remember too that when you speak, whether it be a newspaper, a radio or a television station, you're relaying your thoughts that your fans will be watching that particular station want to pick up. So yeah, look, it's not always going to be smooth between the media and any football club. It's certainly not smooth just now between certain parts of the media and Rangers, but sit down, sort it out, and if you're criticised, it's part and parcel of the game. Just like when you get praised, you absolutely deserve it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course criticism does indeed form part of the game, and Sunday's Old Firm League Cup semi-final, I think, will reveal that in all its glory after 90 minutes. We'll talk about that in the next part of the programme as well, Ruffy. But just before we go to the break, got to mention Hearts, Robbie Neilson, 60% winning rate with regards to his 100 games in charge of Hearts. He's had a fair bit of criticism from his own supporters at times, but got a good win against Dundee at the weekend.
Yeah, when we sat here on Saturday and we saw the result coming through, we automatically said another good win for them, and poor from Dundee. But in watching the highlights, I think Dundee were unlucky. I think they hit the post 3 times before Hearts actually scored. So yeah, they're winning and the crowds are there to support them. New stadium coming up, everything's rosy at Tynecastle.
Okay, you might have suggested Celtic for first. I think Hearts will finish second.
Yeah, Hearts, Aberdeen, Rangers, I think it'll be very tight between the 3. I think there'll be a gap, and then I would imagine Hearts, Aberdeen and Rangers all being within 6 points of each other. Second place for Hearts, maybe, but I'll I'll hold off on that one now, Peter.
Yeah, what, till late May?
Late
Your usual.
Late April.
Until the votes are in from the football writers. Okay. As far as the rest of the results from the weekend, we'll discuss some of the more pertinent points. We'll look at Aberdeen, and of course, James Maddison certainly making himself a Don's favourite. We'll talk about that young man on loan and his performances, and we'll also look at some of the other key results, as well as looking at Morton Aberdeen in the other League Cup semi-final. Join us after the break, and we might even throw in Liverpool Man United too. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Our Bootroom guest on Monday is Mark Guidi. Some of the other results that certainly caught the eye. Aberdeen, the performance of Maddison is certainly attracting a fair bit of attention. Looks as if he's got great skill, and the Dons fans are really warming to him. Yeah,
he's terrific, Peter. Great vision. Always get his head up, looking to pick a pass. He's had a number of assists for Aberdeen. He's played an important role over the past 5 or 6 weeks, and Derek McInnes, it's been a real good find to get him from Norwich City on loan.
Yeah, he's one of those players though, Ruffy, realistically, they'll get a season out of him, but full marks to them for actually having a scouting system that was able to nail him in the first place, because it's great for us to see that type of player, albeit in a short space of time.
Yeah, but I think Derek McInnes will probably be hoping that the boy likes it. He's not going to get a chance where he has he's plying his trade. So he might think, well, if he goes back to that club and things don't happen for him there, he's experienced being at Aberdeen, he's experienced the setup, he's enjoying it. He might just say, well, if it's not happening here, the Aberdeen won me, and that might be the strength of him being up there now. Yeah. At
the bottom end of the table, before we look at the Championship, Mark, just touching on Dundee yet again with another defeat against Hearts, but I thought there were positive signs from Dundee. Robbie mentioned, they hit the post 3 times. I think they crashed one off the bar as well. They were very unlucky and played some good football.
Yeah, they did play some good football. You look at the table, Peter, they're all nicely bunched there. There's 7 teams within 3 points of each other, from 6 points to 9 points. So it's very tight. Dundee haven't really carried much luck this season, which tends to be the case. If you're bottom of the table, means you've not been carrying much luck. But yeah, on another day, they could have scored 2 or 3 goals. So it's a case of, for Paul Hartley and his squad, not to panic and keep doing the things that they're doing, because they're doing a lot of good things.
Yep, absolutely. In the Championship, here's the results from the weekend and how it all shaped up. I think when you look at the key performances, I think Morton was certainly a superb performance, Ruffy. 5-0 against Queen of the South. It's the perfect preparation for a League Cup semi-final.
Yeah, I say it a lot of times, if you're going into a big game, whether it's an international, a European game, or even in a cup game, it's all about going in with confidence. The dressing room will be buzzing, everybody will be excited about the game, the fans will be excited, and that's what you want when you go into a game, particularly this one at the weekend, and I'm sure they'll give Aberdeen a bit of a game.
Yep, and Wraith Rovers against Hibs ended a stalemate. Hibs obviously go back to the top of the table, albeit in goal difference. I don't think they're too happy with the Bartley sending off. They've appealed that red card, but it won't change the result. That could have been an opportunity for them with Queen of the South slipping up, Mark.
Yeah, it's a chance, for Neil Lennon to do that. Peter, I think he's just found, excuse me, that results the past few weeks, it's not going to be as straightforward as maybe what some people thought. But with that fantastic home support, the quality in their squad, they will be right up there. January will be an interesting month in that division in terms of what they're able to do, buying and selling if the clubs. But I watched Dundee United beat St Mirren on Saturday, and Tony Andrew just brings that bit of quality to that Dundee United team, and I think you'll now see them kicking on and really pushing Hibs, Queen of the South and Falkirk.
It's a fantastic division, Ruffy. I mean, I still think of Hibs. I still think Hibs will run away with it, but I just fancy Falkirk to be the team that, will be there or thereabouts, definitely in the playoffs, but a team that could upset a few people.
Yeah, they're beginning to motor as well. From Neil Lennon's point of view, that he would openly admit they haven't really kicked the ball for the past 3 weeks, and they're sitting top of the league. That can only be a good sign. If they start hitting the back of the net, or rather the boy Cummins starts hitting the back of the net, he's went off the boil a wee bit, and he'll be expecting if he goes off the boil, somebody else will chip in, but they're not, and that's why they're not scoring goals. So, but I think it'll come again. It always does. I mean, striker's always a barren spell, but I think he will come again, and they need him very quickly.
Yep. Here's how it all fared in League One. Delighted for Jim Goodwin. He managed to get first win as player manager at Brecon, and over and above that, I think the shock result was Albion Rovers' win at Livingston, Mark.
Yeah, it was a great result for Albion Rovers. Livingston, highly fancied in League One. You're right, good result for Jim Goodwin too at Alloa. So that's a great division as well, Peter. There's a lot going on in that league, and certainly keep an eye on it.
Yep, and here's how the results fared in League Two for you to have a look at. Of course, Annan Athletic sharing the spoils with Cowdenbeath, and Dick Campbell continues to show that there's no substitute for experience, Ruffy, with a good win there against Forfar, albeit against 10 men.
Yeah, I think he's got an impressive record in the lower divisions. I think if you get hold of Dick, he'll tell you, the success that he's had. If it's second division or third division or first division, I think he's won them all. So that's what you'll be hoping.
Yeah, absolutely.
A great one for Elgin as well.
Yeah,
5-0. Great one for them.
Absolutely, brilliant the way you build this out there, Mark. Absolutely, it could have been a Ruffy catchphrase, but I'll let you see if you can decipher which one we're on about. Over and above that, let's switch our attentions. Alec Ray out of the St Mirren job suddenly. Ricky Spragia says to him, "Come and help us out with the under-19s." I feel for Alec. I don't think the board wanted him, the new board wanted Alec in place, if I'm being perfectly honest about it. And I think the number was up, even if he'd started to win games on a regular basis. Yeah,
I think that St Mirren sacked him far too quickly. I watched St Mirren on Saturday, some good signs there. They just have to be a bit cuter when they're defending, Peter, but certainly middle to front they've got a lot to offer. But yeah, I'm pleased for Alec if he's going to get involved with the Scotland setup. He's been there before, certainly helped out 2-3 years ago, and can go back in and do it again. He's good, he knows his stuff, he's good with players, he's good with young players as well. He's always happy to promote them, so I think that's a good appointment by Scotland to get Alec involved.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't know if you noticed that Willie Collum is going to be given a game this week in fact, in the Champions League. Bayern Munich against PSV, so we do have, other than Celtic, some Scottish involvement. Clearly at UEFA, Willie is highly regarded, and I think it's nice to mention that.
Yeah,
Ruffy.
and I think the good thing about it as well, even in our league, we don't hear his name mentioned that much now. I think for a wee while there it was always back page this, back page that, and it just shows you that now people are beginning to accept that he is a top class referee, and they should just go off his back.
Yep, okay, well, there you are. Strong stuff from Ruffy. Clearly visiting Willie for a night out shortly. Brilliant, well done, Ruffy. I know, there's sometimes when he's just straight to the point, and I think there's something wrong there. He's hanging about with Willie Collum. But nevertheless, welcome comments. Let's crack on with your opinion on the last two points here, which is, how do you see it going on Wednesday night, Celtic against Borussia Mönchengladbach, Mark?
Celtic Borussia, Mönchengladbach 0-0 at the weekend against Hamburg, missing a couple of players, suggesting they're maybe holding a wee bit back because Wednesday's vital for them as well. I think with the home support, Celtic will get something going in Europe at home, and I fancy Celtic to nick it 2-1.
Yeah, Ruffy?
I don't think they'll be as open as Man City. I think they'll be harder to break down, and I think it'll be a draw. I'm going to go one each.
And of course, I did mention that Sunday was a day where you had a chance to go out, because some of the games weren't all that great to be watching. Tonight is one of those occasions where you just quite simply shut the door in your woman cave or your man cave and watch the game. It's Liverpool against Manchester United. Doesn't get any better. I'm going to ask you this, with four faces coming up on the screen now: who's the greatest number 7 if you were looking at both teams? Which one do you think gets your vote? Give me it in order of 1, 2, 3, 4. I have my 4. Mark, give me your 4.
Dalglish best, Ronaldo, Suarez.
Dalglish best, Ronaldo, Suarez. Okay. Ruffy?
I'll go Ronaldo, Dalglish best, Suarez.
Ronaldo, Douglas, best, Suarez. Okay. I'm with you, Mark, 100% of the way. That's interesting. I certainly never thought you would go that way. You can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Prediction for Liverpool against Man United. It's always good for people to look back at the repeat and see if you got it right.
Games at Anfield, Liverpool 3, Manchester United 2.
I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay, Mark, before you go, it's the only chance we're going to get a chance to chat to you about it. Give me your predictions on the 2 League Cup semi-finals.
I think Aberdeen will win by 2 goals, 3-1, but I think it'll be the game will still be open to the last 20 minutes. And Rangers Celtic, do you know what? I've got a sneaky for Rangers after extra time.
Rangers after extra time. Interesting, Ruffy.
I'll wait till Friday.
Okay, there you are. I knew the hard-hitting punditry couldn't last longer than the programme. So we'll have to wait till Friday for Ruffy's prediction on that one. Thanks to Mark Guidi for joining us on the programme. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow when Queen of the South's hitman Stephen Dobbie will be our guest to talk more football, and we'll also reflect on Liverpool Manchester United, and we'll look ahead to Celtic against Borussia Mönchengladbach. From Ruffy and myself, thanks for watching tonight. Good night.